Welcome back to Sales Solutions. My name is Tom Holland, and this is Unit 16, Making the Outbound Phone Call. Outbound phone calls have become an inherent part of the automobile salesperson's livelihood. If you're no good on the phone, then selling cars is going to be an extremely difficult task. And it's not good enough to be able to make good calls. You must be able to make great calls. This means you need to make calls that result in appointments. Unfortunately, most salespeople have little, if any, idea how to make great phone calls. In fact, most of the training we get on the phone today can be traced back to the early 1980s. Look, if you want to be successful in this business, then you had better learn how to handle the phone. And that means you need to know how to handle today's customers on the phone. Most dealerships are not making any headway in this department. Hey, look, the 80s are calling and they're wanting their phone scripts back. So, if you want to do something, anything different, follow along with me as we charge with lightning speed into the future by challenging what has become the accepted norm on the phone today. You're making phone calls today based on information that was compiled 40 years ago. Every time we call someone, we politely ask, "Is Mrs. Johnson available?" I know, and you're wondering what's wrong with that. Well, in a word, everything. Number one, according to AT&T, 98.2% of all personal phone calls today are answered on cell phones. Think about that for just a minute. Who else is answering your cell phone? No one, right? So why are we asking, "Could I speak with Mrs. Johnson?" Because old habits die hard. That's the answer. Well, stop it. Unless you know for a fact that you are calling a business landline, you must always assume the person you are calling is answering his or her cell phone. Your call should sound something like, "Miss Johnson, this is John Doe with ABC Motors." Go directly into your phone call. According to data from AT&T, there are over 330 million cell phones in the USA today. But there are only 318 million people. That's right. There are more cell phones than there are people in the USA. And of those 330 million cell phones, 93.7% are smartphones. I mean, today everyone has caller ID and every call can go directly to our voicemail. Yet, we continue with the old 1980s shtick by asking the customer a question that was originally designed to take the curse off the call. You see, we would call and often ask, "Have I caught you at a good time?" Well, now look, 40 years ago, that may have made sense. I mean, it was pretty clear that not everybody had an answering machine, and there was no way that you had caller ID back then. So you had to basically answer the phone to see who it was. Well, for that very reason, most people, while they answered their phone, you would need to qualify what you were doing up front so you weren't taking them away from something like eating dinner or maybe in a meeting. So people would ask, "Have I caught you at a good time?" Well, today, everyone gets the opportunity to look at the name or the number of the person who is calling before they answer the phone. You see, there's actually no reason to even answer your phone unless, number one, we recognize the number or the name on the caller ID, or number two, we have time. And yet, we're still acting like it's 1983. If someone answers our call after we ask them if it's them, once again, who else is answering our cell phone? After we do that, we ask them if we've caught them at a good time. Look, that is sheer lunacy. I mean, here we are well into the 21st century, and yet we still act as if we're trapped in the 1980s. If you call someone and they answer the phone, they know it's you, or they have time to speak with you. Either way, they are giving you a very clear invitation for you to go ahead and speak. So why don't we do that? Call people up. Mr. Jones, this is Tom Holland with ABC Motors, and go right into your phone call. We now know that the person answering the call is, after all, the person we are trying to contact. We also know the person answering the call either, one, recognizes the name or number, or two, has time to answer the call. The next thing that we have to do is get the first yes. This means we need to ask a question that by its very nature should all but guarantee us a yes. Here's the question. Can you hear me okay? Simple, innocuous, but extremely effective. Everybody says yes. The first 5 seconds of your call lays the groundwork for everything that will follow. So how should your first 5 seconds sound? Miss Jones, this is John Doe with ABC Motors. Can you hear me okay? Making a great phone call starts with a perfect first 5 seconds. Take the professional and make it personal. The secret behind great techniques is and always has been the same. You must make the critical sound casual. Make the critical seem casual. Again, take it from the professional to the personal. Anytime you're talking to someone, if you can make the critical seem casual, then you make that person feel comfortable speaking to you. So let's take a look at a typical outbound call. It would start this way. Mr. Johnson, this is Bill Jones with ABC Motors. Can you hear me okay? Call the person by their name. Now, you can even call them by their first name. Remember, it's taking the critical and making it seem casual. It's taking it from the professional to the personal. So if you want to use their first name, by all means, go right ahead. But never ask if it's them. You have to assume it is. I mean, after all, 98.2% of all phone calls are received on cell phones. There are more cell phones in the U.S. than there are people. 330 million cell phones, 317 million people. I'm telling you, they're going to be answering their phone. Next, ask a question they can't say no to. Can you hear me okay? The customer will almost always say yes to your question. If they say no, hang up and call back, and then ask, well, can you hear me now? When they say yes, complete your phone call. It should sound something like this. Mr. Johnson, the reason for my call was to tell you how glad we were to see your name on our exchange program. This gives customers like you the opportunity to trade for a brand new vehicle of similar style and maintain your current payments. This is without taking any money out of your pocket. Now, when would be the best time for you to come down to the dealership to see me so I can show you how this fantastic program works? When would be best for you? This afternoon or this evening? Make the critical sound casual. Take the professional and make it personal. Here's another outbound call. Mr. Johnson, this is Bill Jones with ABC Motors. Can you hear me okay? Mr. Johnson, the reason for my call was to inform you that your car came up on our revenue radar program. Your car is in great demand here at our dealership. In fact, I am looking for a vehicle just like yours for a current customer of mine. Would you be interested in selling your vehicle to us? We have buyers in town, and I can promise you with a 15-minute appraisal to give you a top offer on your 2016 Fusion. When would be the best time for you to stop by and see me? Would this afternoon or this evening be best for you? Make the critical sound casual. Take the professional to the personal. There are a number of times when the person that we're calling, well, they don't have the opportunity to answer their phone. In those instances, we should leave them a voicemail. The problem with leaving a message is we hardly ever hear back from the person we've called. That's because the message we left contained all of the information we wanted to share with the customer. And now there is no reason for them to call us back. The solution here is to compel the customer to call back by leaving a message of urgency. Your message should sound something like this. Mr. Johnson, this is Tom Holland with ABC Motors. I need to speak with you just as soon as I possibly can concerning your 2016 Fusion. If you would, call me as quickly as possible at 555-555-1212. Click. The message must be left quickly with a quality of extreme urgency in your voice. Speak quickly as if the call is an absolute emergency. Your text message should read exactly the same as your voicemail. And that's right. You don't just leave a voicemail, now you send them a text. However, when the person texts back to ask what the concern is, you should return their text by writing, "There's simply too much to text. When would be a good time for you to call me or for me to call you?" You need to speak to them. You need to get them down to the dealership. That's the whole deal. So let's get our customers in. Let's do whatever is possible to get them in. We have so few opportunities today because of the internet, our BDCs, the amount of foot traffic that we have today. It's nowhere near where it was 30 or 40 years ago. And that telephone, it's not just the inbound call, it's the outbound call that we need to ring the sales in with. Insinuate that the phone call should be handled immediately. So when you talk to your customers, they give you a call back. The information contained within this program is the copyright of Tom Holland and Tom Holland Enterprises Group, Inc., 2019. Each component of this program was developed by Tom Holland and is present in his latest sales manual, Maximum Profit. No part of this program was developed in unison with any other person. This program is being disseminated by Tom Holland as an active training guide for salespeople, expressly salespeople found within the automobile retail industry. Tom's phone word track was specifically created as the result of Present World Communications, AT&T 2018. This data helped us to get the information so we can give the greatest result with the least amount of effort. Maximum profit is the result of thousands of hours of research as well as years of hands-on experience. These techniques are not available through any other source. For more solutions concerning the telephone, sales, internet, BDC training, service advisor training, management training, or compliance training, or simply for materials pertaining to those, contact me, Tom Holland, or text me at 682-667-7606. My email is tomssalestips@gmail.com. And always remember, keep your head up, a smile on your face, and courage in your heart.